Yes, Harry.
No, then mate, you all right?
Hi, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. How you getting on?
Good. Yeah, good to see you, man. Yeah, good. Thank you. Sorry, one second. Sorry, I'm late, man, by 5 minutes.
It's all right.
I didn't know if you were doing it because it was on a radio station or something. I thought you might be doing it live or something. Have I got that wrong? Got me wrong.
No, yeah, it's pre-recorded though.
Oh,
It's
it's
only
pre-recorded.
like
Okay.
an online thing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Got you.
But yeah, cheers for coming on. Or thanks to your team for getting in touch.
No, do you know what I said to everyone if we're doing interviews? Because did we talk about doing one in a part? Have we ever spoke about it? I don't know if because I've listened to you quite a lot, and I thought it's weird that I haven't done that at some point. So
Yeah, I mean, we had Hugo on a
yeah,
couple of
yeah,
years
that's
ago,
right. Yeah, yeah.
but
No, I
yeah,
love.
always intended to ask you at some point,
Yeah, that was good. Well, I asked you
yeah.
in the end. Turns out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, no, I love the shows, man. I've listened to. I like it when you get little people that weren't in the bands and stuff as well.
yeah, yeah,
Like you had Ed Warren, didn't you? Did you have Ed Warren? And yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that was a good one. Um,
No,
yeah.
cheers, mate. I appreciate that. Good stuff. I was listening back to my chat with Hugo, and so I got some points from there. But obviously, you've come on to talk about your book, but not get the name wrong. So I'll just double
Careful.
check that. But whatever will be, will be.
Correct.
Um, it's not your first book either. Not your first rodeo. Is that right?
This is not my first book. This is actually not even my second book because I've done I've written with slash ghost written Jimmy Anderson's last two
Yeah,
books
yeah.
as well.
Wow.
So yeah, I have I've done quite a lot of writing with it's my fourth book I've written since the end of the Maccabees, believe it or not.
Wow. I found that
Mm.
really interesting. What point did he get into writing? When did it take your fancy?
Um, When's that? Yes. So do you know what? I was always like, there was one of the things at school, like that was the thing that I was interestingly, actually, I saw Johnny Marr talking about, or Johnny, I think he talks about it in his book where that a lot of guitar players found their like best subject at school be English.
Okay.
I don't know what the correlate, I haven't done any sort of like any more scientific correlation into those two things. But I've always found it easier to write. And the weird thing that happened with me or anything beyond music, I've like outside of music after the Maccabees split up 8 years ago, is that I felt like I was under less pressure to do it. Like when we're making music, I always felt like I had such a list of like people that I loved and bands it needed to be as good as, and you know what I mean? Like be really sort of like if it's not as good as London Calling, then you might as well. Do you know what I mean? It's terrible type thing. I didn't have any of that sort of stuff going around my head with writing or radio or anything like that at all. So I felt like I could do it a um, I was a bit more free to just sort of write, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's just something I've kept meaning to like try my hand at. Like start a Substack, but like you say, it's just. I mean, I've got a full-time job, so it's just finding time, I guess.
But with those things, that's the hard thing. You once you can do one well, but you got to But that's like anything in the world at the moment. You've got to be constantly doing it because people get tired of it after 1 second. I'm already like feeling it with the book or even with records, like with albums. People move through them so fast now. It's a bit of a shame, really.
Yeah, you doing an audiobook for
Yeah.
it?
I've just done the audiobook and doing an audiobook is hard. You're in there for 4 days in a tiny little booth. Just like again, bam, 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 reading it because audiobooks it's like 8 hours long or something, my audiobook. So it's a lot of reading to yourself. And if you go down a tunnel of I'm starting to not be able to speak properly or something, like you can get really trapped in there. But I guess that's like anything like recording or whatever, you can go down some places, you're like, oh no, I can't speak now. I can't say preliminary. Although clearly I can now. I had this thing where I couldn't say preliminary.
As in the preliminary. Yeah, I can't even say it myself, but the rounds before the
Thank
first
you.
round.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. You can't say preliminary. It was like there's an extra preliminary round and then a preliminary round. And when I'm writing it, I say fucking preliminary. so many
Right.
times. Sorry, can I swear I've forgotten if I can
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, all good, mate.
Yeah, I say preliminary so many times written a book.
Yeah.
Um, but Jimmy had that. Jimmy had that when he read the book that I'd written with him slash for him. He was just phoning me up, being like, "You fucking like what? It like how long are these sentences and what are these words?" Yeah.
What's that? Yeah, what's that process like? Is it, would you say it's easier or harder than doing your own book, or is it just different?
What doing with Jimmy?
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing with Jimmy is that I can let my imagination really go with that because he's achieved what I could only dream of, but probably did dream of as a kid, like won Ashes series and done things. So to like have the opportunity to be inside, like to actually own that and write like you achieved those things
It's
is
all first person, yeah.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's all no, it's all first person. It has
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
because you're writing from his perspective.
Yeah.
So I was almost actually quite sad when it ended that I didn't get to claim that I'd done all this stuff because you're just like, but also like the interesting thing with sports people obviously is that they're doing it, so they're not projecting and putting all the feeling and peripheral living of their lives into it because they just literally you know what I mean? There's a systematic doing it every day that you have to do. So I could put all of my feeling and stuff, not all of it, obviously, because you know what, you want it to still be in his voice, but I could put that kind of love that I'd had for it into that perspective, which was cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. And then the subject matter of this book is, really interesting to me. I was at
I was going to ask if you like football. I didn't know if you did like football.
yeah, yeah. I mean, grew up a Hull fan. Well, I am a Hull fan, but a bit of a loose one these days. But had a great time at Craven Cottage when Manuccio scored back in the day. I don't know if you
Oh
remember
wow!
that.
Oh my God! Was that Phil Brown, Hull City?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, mate, I was there.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
one of the best
there.
away games ever for us, yeah.
Yeah, because that was. Did you win 2-1 or 1-0?
It was 1-0, but it's like our only win in like the second half of the season, and it kept us up pretty much.
I remember that because I remember it being a real like wake up call for everyone. Like something's wrong. If whole city are turning up here and smash and grabbing something, but you that team was good. That whole team was good, wasn't it? The Phil
I mean,
Brown
yeah, people like Giovanni. I mean,
and I
just a
think
legend. Yeah.
yeah, and Jimmy Bullard. Did you? No, Jimmy that was probably before Jimmy Bullard was at Hull, probably actually.
And that he came that half of the season, but he got injured in his first game against West Ham.
I used to go to Fulham with a guy that used to be our old radio plugger, a legend, John Turner. He used to like plug all of Madonna's stuff and like Kate Bush, like legend. And he's since retired from plugging and is very happy in Spain. But anyone that he didn't want to be at Fulham, he used to shout, "Cab to Hull, cab to Hull." So like if he didn't want like a midfielder he thought was just rubbish, he'd be like, "Get him in a cab to Hull City." Sorry to say that.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the rumors you hear about Jimmy Bullard, like, apparently he failed the medical when he came to us. We overlooked it or something. I don't know if that's
I
true.
met, 'cause I do the Fulham
Oh, you did
podcast,
some
Fulham
stuff with him,
Fix.
didn't you?
So I did yeah, I do the Fulham podcast. So he came on and I think he said something about that. I can't remember what he said now. I
We
think it
gave
was
him a
it a money
crazy
thing? It
deal,
was
but
good money, wasn't it? It was really good money.
it was like 40, from what you hear, like 45 grand a week. And then no matter what division we were in, it would increase after that. And we got relegated. So we were paying him like 50 grand in the championship in 2010.
That's right. That's right.
He said
Yeah.
I think he said he bought himself a pub with it or something. Or he bought his dad a pub or something.
Gee, it's not what you want to hear, is it? It's not what you want to hear.
Oh, it's
But
quite funny.
Joe, I think he was in that because he was in Roy Hodgson's team, that famous Fulham team that like ended up getting Europa League and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Roy was just like, I can't just liability. I can't
Oh,
have
really?
someone, Roy needed everyone almost like table football. Do you know what I mean? All in your lines of four, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And probably Jimmy long term was it? Although he did score a couple of free kicks in that campaign that has kept us up that year.
Oh,
Love
yeah,
Jimmy.
talented player. He had his
Mm.
moments for Hull, but they're just like, yeah, not really
Whole
what
city,
we
yeah,
expected.
course your whole city. So all the Paddington's whole city,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Some of them into it more than others, but I
Mm.
mean, Josh's dad played for Hull KR, scored a Challenge Cup winning try in the Challenge
He
Cup
played
final.
rugby for Hull.
Josh's dad played rugby for Hull KR and scored a famous try at Wembley. But
Wow.
anyway, that's a bit of
Wow, I didn't
detail
know.
for you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great indie folklore. I did not know that.
But yeah, I remember when we got promoted, when we won at Wembley in the playoffs, like the Paddingtons played in Camden that night. That was a good night.
Ah, brilliant. When Hull City got promoted
Yeah, when we beat Bristol City, first time we got promoted to the Premier.
and then Paddington's played where? Camden.
Somewhere in Camden.
So
Yeah.
you went to go to both things, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, brilliant.
So that was great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Good times. But yeah, obviously, so I mean, I was talking to Sam Delaney about his book recently, and he said, a publisher will say they're interested in another book. Is that what happened here? You knew that you could, you had like space to write another book, and then the idea came to you, kind of thing.
No, I mean I didn't have, I mean I've had such a mental year, but I don't know how I thought I could write this book. It's been insane, but I did do it. I really loved sort of for those reasons I explained. Really, I love writing the It's Always Summer Somewhere, the one with that was sort of like memoir style cricket, and I kind of had I just had in my head that it would be cool to do something with football because football's always obviously broader, more people are into it, more people are channeling more feelings into it. So, and I think more people understand like the way football connects memory. So like a conversation between adult and child, even yourself when you're young, you know what I mean? Like how it like sort of has there's football's got has a uh like it has a knack with nostalgia and sentiment that very few other things do. Maybe music's the other thing that does really. So I had this idea I wanted to do something with football, and then the Maccabees, not Maccabees, sorry, 86 TVs, my other band, last summer were playing Kendall Calling. So this is before Maccabees were going to get back to go and play any shows or whatever. And it was just one of those tours where, well, what literally happened was on those tours when you're in a splitter van, your only thing you know is service stations. That's the only way you know what time of the day it is or anything at all. And we stopped at services and it was like that hustle of like almost like Noah's Ark, like everyone's in there. There's like people going to weddings, like cadets, people going on like family trips and football teams. And I sort of actually thought like, oh, it's midday on a Saturday. It must be midday on a Saturday. So, and then I realised like I could find football, and it turned out that Penrith were playing in the, I'm going to say it again, extra preliminary round of the FA Cup right by Kendall Calling. So I tried to convince the boys they were not into going to the fest too because they're not as into football. So I went on my own to Penrith, watched that first round with about I think it's about 150 other people there, maybe 200. I can't get, it's one of those places where you can't get the taxis are two people that have just got mobile numbers and they're just like, no, I'm not taking, I can't be bothered or whatever. So I couldn't get out of this place, and I ended up asking people if they could give me a lift back to Kendall Calling because we were on at 6 o'clock or something, and the chairman drove me.
No
The
way.
chairman drove me back from Penrith to Kendall Calling, and when I get in that car back to like when he's driving me back from the game. I'm just like in my head, this is already a book. This is already a book. So I'm like, so I just have this conversation with him where I just record it, me and him chatting for like 20 minutes. He's got his used to play for Penrith, all this stuff. And then I just and then after that played the gig, I was like, I really missed that day. And then I just realized I could go to every single round of this FA Cup and just have mad adventures and trying to sort of like tell a story about English football, but also about England and what belonging and people and all that. And then every single round just spun me out to some. I just tried to find what the story was in each round. So, for example, AFC Wimbledon playing MK Dons is a massive one because for people that don't know, obviously Wimbledon became MK Dons, which broke the hearts of all the fans there, and then they started their own club and they're playing each other. So that become about displacement and da 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 da. Saw the last game at Goodison Park. So that becomes about if you knew it was the last time you were going to do something, would that make life better or would it make it worse?
Well, you have experience with that with the, well,
With
before
Maccabees,
before the
yeah.
reforming, but yeah.
Actually, I should have put that in a book. That's a great point. Yeah, I do have experience with that. Yeah, or thought I did. Thought I did.
Yeah, yeah. Was
Yeah,
that quite? I mean, listening back, Hugo said that was quite obviously emotional experience, but I guess it's all changed now anyway. But
yeah,
were you
sort
glad
of
to be able to do that at
reframed.
the time? Yeah.
Yeah, it was what do the goodbye thing.
Was that quite a good way of doing it at the time? Yeah.
It was it was sort of necessary. I think that if we hadn't have done that, it would have been really, really. I mean, it was really hard anyway. I found it really hard personally, but if people were constantly asking what the Maccabees doing and we weren't really sure and hadn't have like done it officially, I think it would have been much more difficult, definitely for me, to move on with life and like just put a pin in it and go, but I'm on to the next thing. I don't think as many things in my life would have happened if we hadn't have like given it a proper full stop, you know? Um, and definitely I feel like, I don't know, those last shows the Maccabees did, or supposedly the last shows. It turns out not, but they were amazing shows, man. They were so emotional and sort of so euphoric, but also really sad. And like, yeah, I was putting my like head back together for ages after those. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you must have answered this question 100 times recently, but what was the main catalyst for getting back together?
Yeah, well, the story that we've been telling a lot, which is pretty much true, is that Hugo got married just before COVID. Have you heard this story? Am I going to bore you with the story?
No, it does ring a bell, but I can't remember it to be
All right,
honest.
let me tell you. So Hugo got married just before COVID. Obviously we didn't know COVID was going to happen, but and they had all he wanted to do was just for the wedding was it was one of those where they'd already got officially married the week before or whatever, so just having a party. So they hired out his pub and got all like the techs and people we know to build a stage in the pub. And the idea was just going to like have a gig, and then the gig started to get a bit out of hand because like Jamie T was up for doing it, and then Florence did it, and then Adele was up for doing it. So he was suddenly like putting this bill together.
Adele.
Adele did it. Adele was up for it. It's the only gig she's done,
That is
but isn't it in
nuts.
Vegas? But so we were like, so we were putting all this. Like it turned out everyone was up for it, and we were sort of like the house, the Maccabees minus Land, I think, were the kind of like house band. So we were doing Dog Days with Florence, Sticks and Stones with Jamie or whatever it was, Jack Pignate sang with us.
Did Adele do a Latchmere or what?
Yeah, we did Rolling in the Deep. Adele did Latchmere. No, Adele did. That's so funny. Yeah, Adele did Rolling in the Deep.
Yes.
Gosh, we should have asked her to do Latchmere. But anyway, so like we hadn't seen Land because he moved to Lisbon for a while, and then he was invited. Like Hugo's like, well, the best thing that would make this like, I think it's like one of those things where you're just saying like everything that would make this the best thing ever for me. And he just wanted the Maccabees to play basically. So he asked Land if he'd be up for it, and I think sort of probably like how do you say no to that, but also like but quite a sweet thing I think without that like pressure or intensity of just I think Lamb maybe felt touched to have been asked just to do it. And this speaks to Hugo's mind. We went on after Adele. Adele was second top. We went. It was Adele did Rolling in the Deep. Then we did Pelican.
Uh, that is
Like get like all right. Let's close it in style now. And but it was good, man. 'Cause there was like 200 friends or something in that pub, and people were going mental. It was like so good. And then it turned out a week later, COVID happened, and so for a year it was like we've just had the biggest gig of the year.
yeah.
We've like had the biggest bill anyone in the world's going to have this year.
That
Um,
is mad. I mean,
yeah,
was it a thing where it just like no recording type thing?
yeah, there was nothing like that. I don't know if it was specifically said. I think it was just a bit of a respect. I haven't seen any recording of Adele singing. I don't think anyone even that's so weird. I don't know if anyone thought to film it. I haven't seen any footage of that anywhere,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
mad.
even best. That's even better.
Yeah, it's adds something to it, doesn't it?
I think it's probably a bit of a, I think because everyone's our age, there was probably a respect thing of like, I'm not gonna, it's probably
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little unsaid respect thing, I think. Yeah.
Nah, fair.
Yeah.
Where does Adele come into? Who's she mates with then? Hugo.
Hugo's wife, Laura,
Ah, okay, right.
and Adele were very good friends, are still very good friends. And they grew up doing bits together. But Adele was part of that whole universe we were. So Adele supported the Maccabees in front of no one in places like Hartford Marquee, and
Yeah, she was a bit more alternative, wasn't she, back in the day?
she had just her own acoustic.
Yeah.
So before any music came out, she used to, so she was just part of that universe where all those bands and people were so all playing together. So we knew Adele for I have known Adele for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And then just to round it off, so like the wedding performance kind of led into more. You,
Oh,
so
sorry.
then,
Yeah. Sorry. That's what we were. Sorry. I thought we were, before I just dropped
it's
the
all
bomb of
right.
Adele's name into it. That's what we
The
the
Adele bomb.
yeah the what happened? Yeah. So that was a thing, and then obviously, so just made us stay in touch a little bit more, like a tiny bit more, and um, we would always get like asked a little bit about offers, would you do it? And it was all a bit no, 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 no. But then it was just merging when Lamb was spending every Christmas, he'd come back to London to see his family, and then we'd have drinks. And so we were just sort of becoming friends again and like not talking. And I was sort of asking him without it being loaded about his record and how he's getting on and all that kind of thing. So I think it was just becoming a bit easier. And then All Points East offered last year. It happened really quickly, but it was the kind of thing where it's hard because Reading and Leeds is not Reading and Leeds as we remember it. You know what I mean? Our generation.
Mm.
So in terms of those like big moments, there aren't like much in terms of that era of music about like, oh, that's the one, you know. But All Points East definitely because I've been going there since the Maccabees and who be headlining it? Nick Cave, The Strokes, Yeah Yeahs, LCD, all these sorts of bands. And so it would every time you be there, you'd feel a bit like, oh, like if the Maccabees hadn't, if we hadn't have like, where would we have been? Like, where would that fit in? So to get to offer to be like, do you want a headline all Wednesdays and you can put your like own, you can put the bill together. So the
Oh,
whole
well, I didn't know that bit,
all
right?
the stages, curate the thing, like obviously with them to a degree, but pretty much just make it a Maccabees day. And it just happened at a time where we were just probably like becoming close enough friends again for all the right reasons. But that felt like a light and not. And then I just think you get to a certain age, don't you, where you're just like actually like you never know what's around the corner. Especially I'm 41 now, and you do have like friends that get sick, friends that or whatever it is, like friends that died, and you just get a bit like, well, if we could still be the Maccabees and do it, like what who and no one in this band doesn't want to do that, let's just fucking do it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
No, definitely, yeah.
So I was just like, it was just the hard thing for me with that, all of that was I missed the Maccabees so much that opening up that feeling again to be like, I'm gonna have the experience again that for years I've been talking myself out of. Because I really had to do loads of talking out of my brain to be like, my life was going to have loads of other things, but the thing that made me feel so alive and like I belonged somewhere, like playing in those big gigs with the Maccabees was just not that was just not going to happen to me again. But I was going to have lots of different things, so I'd really like taught myself through that. So the idea to like open it, have that experience again, was almost a bit was scary in some way because I feel like oh now I have to go through the whole thing of doing it like feeling like it's best thing in the world and then coming off of it again, Um, but I guess the answer to that is you can't live like that and then you wouldn't do anything that's good, would you, if you had that attitude?
No, yeah, yeah. No, fair
But
play. I mean, so did they offer that without knowing that you were talking then? It's just like a shot in the dark for them, really?
yeah, I think the word had got around that we were like doing, but we were someone had like. I think someone had offered something. I don't remember what it was, but someone had offered something that we weren't. It wasn't like out of hand, no. So maybe it got round a little bit, but they haven't just said absolutely no, forget about
Yeah,
it. It's not happening. Like, or Charlie, our agent, probably was just like, it wasn't, it was a bit more open than it has been. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yes. And
yeah,
how
man.
did it compare to Glastonbury? What was the difference there?
4.6 Glastonbury.
Did you enjoy Glastonbury a bit more after
The,
you got
the,
there first and not the way? Or was it the other way around?
it was the other way around. It was the other way around. Glastonbury was intense, because the thing about Glastonbury is it was like it's like doing Jules, where you're, or I would be anyway, so hyper aware, but people are at home just going shit. No, like or like on the bike, you're just going like nah, and like flicking over,
As
or
if you
like
were thinking about that on stage. That's
or
hilarious.
criticizing it, or like, well, before you like, or criticize, you could sort of see like, so weird how it's that whole massive experience. I don't know how many people were at that on the park stage. What is it, 20, 30,000 people? I don't know. But when
Right,
they
yeah.
like, but we like, you almost like feel like, okay, that's one thing, but then the whole, everyone on their sofas being like, they got a bit fatter. Or whatever. So I was a bit like, oh my God. I was sort of more nervous about that. Um,
Well, like the social media response, maybe, or something.
Yeah, oh man, no, no, don't. I can't. The social media thing is as hell. It's everyone's existence at the moment. I'm struggling with social media, man. Because
Ah, fair.
one of the mad things I started doing is presenting baseball. Do you know about that?
Yeah, I did see you doing that, yeah.
Actually, I don't know why. Anyway, I do love baseball, but I go out to America to present the baseball, and one of my jobs is like to it's with all the American broadcasters, but to like feedback to a English European audience what's going on if they're watching for the first time. And so part of what I'm doing is like get in touch with me if you've got a question, you're watching baseball for the first time, and I can get it to the experts while the game's going on type thing. The problem with that is that like, so it's a hashtag. So like I'll be like when it's off the screen, like I'll be on the hashtag, and then like obviously loads of lovely people writing in with questions, but then you'll just see someone going like, "Guess off the TV, you fucking," and then you have to be like, "Okay, I've just seen that," and then you're back on TV in three, two, one. Like it's just like we live in such a weird world where that's even a thing, where someone can just reach you directly and tell you you're rubbish, and then you have to try and, do you know what I mean? Like do really quick therapy on yourself. Like, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know it's not true, or whatever, or like it's just
No, that is mental,
exhausting.
yeah.
Just like really exhausting. But yeah, so that's that's like the minefield that's with the baseball coverage that I've had to deal with in my head. But sorry, what was the question? What was the question? I can't remember what your question was before.
I think I just asked about the difference between All Points East and Glastonbury, yeah.
Mm.
But
But yeah, so Glastonbury's like amazing. I always had this like sensation of, I remember it with the Maccabees, and it happened again, of being so feeling like so like, oh, just this is where I should be, which is actually quite a bad thought on stage because that's what you, but anyway, but everything like slows down, like everything gets really like, you're like playing really fast, but your senses kind of go vroom, and you could, it's like in the old days in the clubs, you'd always like see, oh, that microphone's falling down, or that person's flying through the air over there. You'd like almost see it happening slowly, even though it's happening really quickly. So now, and I got it again at Glastonbury, like, oh, this is, I remember this sensation of being stood here, and it feels like it's everything's happening at two different speeds at once. Yeah,
right, yeah.
mad sensation, amazing sensation.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. All right, mate, well I got you to put a list of songs together for the radio. I noticed that Jack's Basement one in there. Wondered why.
Jack's Basement. Do you know about Jack's Basement? Have you talked?
Hugo was telling me about it, yeah.
Yeah, so Jack's, but I don't know if any music actually. Hope it doesn't exist. So Jack's Basement was me and Jack Pignate and Joel Porter, still very close friends of mine who Joel ended up in Jack's band, but we so that was, yeah, we had a band called Jack's Basement, and we were called Jack's Basement because we rehearsed in Jack's Basement, but also because we thought people might mistake us for basement jacks and come to see us.
I didn't even put that
And,
together before.
and
Yeah,
they
that's funny.
did, in the NME, they asked basement jacks if they'd heard about Jack's basement,
No
like when we
way.
were like right playing bricks and windmill and stuff.
That's
And
it.
so that's the first time we ever got any NME, Jack's basement.
Quality. Because yeah, I'm right in thinking the Maccabees started without you, right? You were still in Jack's basement.
Yeah, so the Maccabees, yeah, so I was playing guitar in a band. Then my one of my other very close mates at school called Matt, he had this older brother who would just always just be in his room called Orlando, who was just playing one note on a guitar again and again, like stoned or whatever. And I so like, and then I was around their house all the time. Um Land was like to me, like, do you play guitar? I was like, yeah, I play guitar. So I did tab of about 4 or 5 chords, like just C, G, A minor, like you know how you write it on tab. And
Hmm.
I wrote it out and gave it to him just to be like, this is sort of how you get it started type thing. And then um, the next time I came around, like he'd written this amazing song with C and A minor or whatever it was. Like he was so good. I just couldn't believe what he'd done. But obviously I was in Jack's basement. So he was like, do you know anyone? And he swears down that I said, well, my brother also plays guitar. He's not quite as good as me, but I could put you in touch if you want. So I did. He phoned up because he knows it's like landline. Phoned up the landline, put Hugo on the line, and there or thereabouts is the beginning of the Maccabees. And then Maccabees and Jack's Basement would play gigs together. Like we'd
Ah, right.
switch who was headlining, just to sort of mates or whatever, and take the money off the door, like £5 off the door. Pub takes the all drinks. So play like Amersham Arms in New Cross, all these places, and that's how it kind of all started, really.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Hmm.
Hugo said he reckons you had to ask him to be in the band. Is that right?
Yeah, do you know what? I think I did hear this interview. I listened to it because I was suspicious of what he's going to say. But no, that's exactly no. This is what happened. I Jack was always it was always clear, but Jack was going to be like solo thing, like he, and that's what he wanted to do. And I was really trying to like hustle up a band type energy with it, like so that's because really what I wanted to be in a band because I was sort of so obsessed with all the pictures of bands. I'm like, whoa, like really like I'm into that idea. And I remember the phone call with Jack where he told me he thinks he's going to do his own thing, that Jack's Facebook might be like, what? And I put the phone down, like absolutely devastated. Like when I think about it now, it's like a state of grief. And I this moment of like just being completely at sea, like, what am I going to do?
But did you
Uh,
gain some traction with that band then? A little bit.
what, Jack's basement?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
All right.
I think that's why I left it.
Fair enough.
Zero tracks, zero traction. But but I was in at that time. Maccabees didn't have any. We were just pub, pub bands, and I had this sort of few minutes just to myself in a room where I was just like gave myself as talking to, and just realised the only thing that I can do in my life now is immediately go downstairs because I had sort of the loft room in the house, go down into Hugo's room and just beg him to join the Maccabees
Oh dear.
because and like he was not really that he was sort of he like really held his power. He was kind of a bit like, let me think on it. And then, I don't know if he told you this, he told me he would let me join the band if I was rhythm, he was lead
Yeah,
guitar.
he said you can't be the lead guitarist, he
Yeah.
said, yeah.
But secretly, I knew that was all right because I knew he couldn't play lead guitar and neither could I. So I was like, that's not going to be a massive problem anytime soon because it's not like Jimmy Page is downstairs. Like, it was a bit like, I feel like that part's going to be all right. And then
Yeah.
but yeah, but that's how it all started.
It's interesting because he said like in the end neither of you were lead, you were kind of like playing different patterns, which is
Yeah,
probably
so
added to like the unique sound maybe.
yeah, I mean he was yeah, that's what would happen. So we would just be there. Um doing just downstroke, dun 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 dun, and just realizing if I'm playing it low or I don't know, my guitar's like the guitar I play all the time. It's like it's got that I've had since Maccabees. It's like you can see where I played in exactly the same place on the frets because it's just like just energy's gone into this one spot again. And I used to be high, Hugo would be low, and then we just swap round, and we just it was a bit like I guess that's the thing. At that time, it was being turned on to the sort of strokes and interpol aesthetic of two guitars, making it sound like if you took one out, it would sound really weird. It wasn't like obviously having grown up with Oasis style songwriting, Beatles style songwriting, which is more chord progression and song, where you could take it away and still have the guitar and the song, it would be the same. Like we were sort of switch, probably because we felt like we couldn't write songs like that, but also like turned on to that thing of all the parts in the band are like weaving this thing. And if you take one out, it sounds really weird. So you can't like it. It's not just like a backdrop, someone strumming and playing. It's like this sort of moving, yeah, like sort of jigsaw puzzle. And like right at that time, interestingly, like the drum and bass was massive. And it's quite hard to sort of remember that, but when we were sort of 17, 18, it feels like guitars was a culturally big thing. But actually in our mates, it was just drum and bass, sort of like Andy C, these sorts of nights. And that's where all the people we know would go. We're just like high energy, really fast. So we used to think that we were playing guitar versions of high energy drum and bass for our mates because that's what they liked, like or sort of Ronnie Side, like Brown Paper Bag and that kind of thing. But then when it like popped out and we went to Brighton, we realized like all of these bands all over the country were playing really fast, high energy guitar music that was sort of similar. But because of being at that time, you obviously didn't have access to all of that until you were reading the NME and going, "Oh, have you heard Maximo Park? What do they say?" You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I didn't ask you about the enemy thing. We're always quite supportive, really.
Yeah, sorry. So the NME, the thing about the Maccabees was that we were never like, we were never the thing. We always felt we were just sort of hiding behind it, not intentionally. I think there were loads of moments where we felt like, oh, be we X, Y, and Z bands have got all the sort of attention or press or whatever, and we haven't. But what that sort of allowed for is that we were never sort of our heads weren't over the parapet enough to get kind of shot at. So we were always allowed to just be that kind of insular thing and have those people that were seeing it without that glare of people suddenly seeing on the front of NME and being and saying, "Oh, I don't like them because of X." Do you know what I mean? And that kind of allowed it over time to go for the records to sound really different, to sort of grow up a little bit, to keep those people that are into it and like sort of really grow the sentiment of the band without kind of feeling like because I don't think if we'd have had the same attention a lot of bands did when we were 18, I don't think we would have we've stood that being attacked. You know what I mean?
Mm.
I mean, even now on the baseball, I'm like, I don't like that. You know, like like we don't, you know, that sort of, you know, I just don't think we would have dealt with it very well.
Yeah, and I was saying, I think I chatted to that to Hugo, chatted about that to Hugo. Like Gary Jarman said, the crew's benefited from a gradual rise, and I think
Yeah,
Hugo said a similar thing for you guys. Yeah.
yeah, the Cribs had a similar thing. Like I can't think of a bands that got really big. Obviously, the Arctic Monkeys were really bulletproof. Um, but there are probably loads of groups that had like 6 months in the spotlight. I don't know, maybe the Bravery would be an example,
Mm.
or Hot Heat. I really like Hot Heat, but you know those sorts of bands maybe, and but were like really like that, and then just it was very hard to maintain that once you're there, unless you'd happen to have Alex Turner writing songs for you in the band. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, mate. Well, we'll crack into the songs. So first song, kind of a staple of every indie night going back in the day.
What have I
The what?
chosen?
The Walkman, the rat.
Yes, mate, of course. Well, I just thought, I don't know, man. I've tried not to be too obvious, but I just thought, if we're talking about this era of music, obviously, I think the Rat is the piece of music that has lasted the best in terms of the indie dance floor things from that time. Um, Still, yeah. I mean, what can you say about the Rat? It's just like a totally expert piece of music, isn't it? It's like up there with the Baser and the all-time indie dance floor tunes.
No, definitely. Yeah. Well, let's play it. Here's the Walkman with the rat. Did he do much? Like, I feel like a thing back in the day. I've mentioned it a few times, but like DJing was a big thing back in the day, wasn't it? Like after
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
show
yeah.
DJ, did you do much of that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, with I used to have my little CD, like CD pouch with all the CDs and stuff. That's how we first really happened for us in Brighton, is that we met George Saul, who called himself the Sheriff, who became our tour manager, but he was a DJ every Tuesday night, Wednesday night at Funky Buddha, which is on the beachfront. And George had come and seen us like when we were slightly evolving and was really into it, one of the first people into it. And then he would let us go down to Funky Buddha before doors opened and bring the CDs that were demos and just hear them really loud. So we record like whatever it is really, really rough, and then you couldn't wait to hear it at Funky Buddha. So we go down there and just like have a night out, but to begin with, just play the music really, really loud. And then George was just sort of a DJ and sort of like local legend of Brighton, and he ended up deciding that he wanted to change his life and become our tour manager. So that's how that kind of started. And then we would always like he could DJ, but we couldn't. So we get DJ slots, and then we just be sort of hovering around, rolling rollies, like while he put CDs on or whatever. Like I still don't, because I started a record label who did Yalla, which did it sort of those versions of indie nights after Maccabees ended, which was a real lifeline for me. But still to this day, like I was doing all the DJing with USBs, but I still don't ever do the sort of like whoop or like all that. I don't even touch it. I don't dare touch it. But there's lots of people in other bands that have just sort of learned the discipline a bit better. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, then the next one, I don't really know much about this band. Definitely heard the name, obviously. I Am Clue, Dark
Oh,
Star. What's the story with this one?
oh, mate, do you know like so? 86 TVs are named after I'm Clute song of
Oh,
the same
right.
album, which is called a song called 86 TVs by I Am Clute. I Am Clute from this period of time, well, of any music, are one of my all-time favorite bands. They just three-piece from Manchester, very very dark, like very dark sort of, I guess, loosely say acoustic songs about disaster, about drinking, but like with so much atmosphere in them. And I don't know, what else to say. This song Dark Stars, just like just still listen to this record all of the time. They eventually ended up towards the end of their actually Guy Garvey produced this like in the early days, and Craig, I think, from Elbow produced this, and it's still got a sort of atmosphere all of its own. And I don't want to say overlooked, 'cause they did get quite big, and I feel like that's maybe not giving them due credit. But I do think some of their songs are the greatest songs any English people have written, genuinely. So yeah.
All right, yes. Well, here it is. Here's I Am Clue with Dark Star. And then next, a band that seems to be like one of the very respected by other bands, the Future Heads.
Oh,
What are your memories of them?
do you know what? The Futureds did because they did the All Points East
Oh, of
bill.
course, yeah, yeah.
So they were one of the bands that were on the bill, and they were on the Yala stage actually. Maybe third from the top. I think it was Warm Dusha. Maybe that was Warm Dish and Futureheads on before them on the thing. Anyway, they could have done second top of the whole festival. The amount of people that came to see them from our world, it was like you could not move, even like out reaching into the festival itself. Like the amount of love people have for that band. And when I first came across Future, it was right that time we were explaining about just coming into Brighton and realizing loads of other bands are sort of doing similar things to us. We were watching loads of old Grey Whistle test videos. So XTC, Dr. Feelgood, really sort of like eccentric, high energy guitar bands. And when first heard the Futureheads or saw the Futureheads coming further, it felt like they were from that time. It felt like but they were real and in front of us. So I felt this real close. Actually, to be honest with you, I was in awe of them, completely in awe of them. And a lot of that early Maccabees stuff, like not that I mean, Hounds of Love is amazing, but I was really into their writing and the um like the sort of dynamic between the guitars, the way that they all sang, everything about it. I felt really strongly about the Futureheads. Really loved them. And this song we're going to play, Cope, is off the second record, News and Tributes, which they had a bit of a hard time with. And still, I was saying to them at the festival, to this day, they don't play anything but like one song off this record. And I think it's by far their best record. It's really dark. Um, it's they kind of say that it's a good headphone record and a bit sort of like intangible, hard to reach. But this song, Cope, man, nothing rocks harder than Cope from this era. I love this song, and the chorus is just Barry singing "How dare you." I've got to tell you actually quickly, I was this is a story I always remember that makes me cringe more than any other story from that time. I was so in love with the Futureheads that that uh, when we supported them. Steve Lamacq put us on supporting them at the Barfly, not at Barfly, somewhere like that. Oh, what was on Kentish Town, Bull and Gate? Anyway, something like that. It was us supporting Futures for Six Music, and I was really, really, really sort of overwhelmed to be in the presence of the Futureheads, and played the gig. All was brilliant. They were lovely, lovely, all that kind of stuff. And then right at the end of the night, they're like hanging out, talking to their mates or whatever. And I have this feeling like I have to go and speak to Barry, like a child fan. I have to go and speak to Barry. And I hadn't planned to say this, but I just go up to him and I tap him on the shoulder and he turns around in front of everyone. And I just like poke him on the chest and I go, fuck John Lennon. And then point at his face, go, Barry from the Futureheads. And he does exactly what you just done there. He laughs in my face. He like laughs in my face. And I remember thinking like I might have overcooked that one. Like, I don't know why it had to be fuck John Lennon, but I felt so desperate to tell him how important he is. I don't know if we ever recovered from that really, me and Barry. Like we still speak to each other, but it's like you said fuck John Lennon, Barry from the future is in my face.
Where did that line come from? Was it a
I
total
don't
rush of blood?
it was just like it just happened. Like I was just I think I was just in the moment. I was like, what's the thing that's gonna like get us like
You want to make an impact?
yeah, make get their attention. I was like and I mean I just never sort of lived it down. Even though we did support them after on tour, so they can't have been put off that much. Um, but yeah, that might have been a slight overreach on my part. But I also do think Barry's one of the greats of all time and the Futureheads.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, sorry, well, let's play the song then. Here's the Futureheads with Cup. Then I think you mentioned the AES already, maybe. But a song off the second album, is it, that you've picked here?
Yeah, this is Turn Into, which is just this was on Fiction Records, which the Maccabees are on,
Ah, okay.
and I just think I remember watching this when we made our first album. We made it in Olympic Studios, which was a cool place to record at the time because loads of other bands would be in loads of other rooms and there'd be one communal area. So you'd kind of like in breaks, you'd all be sat there with the Hives or whoever and watching. And MTV2 was a very big deal at the time. So that was on all day and you'd be watching other bands' videos. And this was just on all the time at that moment. And I think yeah, she especially does Heartbreak very well, kind of like exercising a feeling. Um, so yeah, I still love this song. If I was DJing a club night, I would play this every time. So yeah.
Cool. All right, here it is. Here's Yeah Yeah Yeahs with 10 in 2. Then next on Black Rebel, a band that I've not, I only really know the singles type thing. Never really sat down and
Oh, are you serious?
listened to them properly.
Are
But
you serious?
why? Yeah, I'm afraid so. Yeah.
Um,
Why this particular song?
well, I'm surprised by that. Do they not mark your life? And no, because they were a
No,
big deal at the time. Do you not hear about? No.
yeah, I mean, obviously, like "Spread Your Love" is like one of the best songs of the year easily.
Yeah,
But just don't know like the whole. I wouldn't know their albums type thing. If you know what I mean.
yeah. Black Rebel, very big deal to me, and still, and they were sort of. I guess it was at that time, like talking about Enemy, where you'd read about a band almost always before you heard them. Like you'd struggle to find the music. So if the writing was painting you a picture of something, it almost like set you up for the experience. And Black and Enemy were like really into Black Rebel, were pushing Black Rebel at that time. And so all the atmosphere around it, like the mist, them in black clothes, the sort of silhouettes of them, the sort of like mystery of it is really, I don't think you could have that experience very often now where you just go on Spotify, wash, whatever it is, everything. I've really sort of been yeah, like the anticipation of it, I wanted a picture in my mind of what it was when I heard it. So when I heard Red Eyes and Tears, because I hadn't like didn't know as much about the history of guitar music and stuff as I did now, it felt like nothing I'd heard before. It felt really mysterious, uh, very dark, and I don't know, just felt like it just made a huge impact on me. Black Rebel. I still listen to that record all the time. It's weird. It's weird. It's a bit like Futures with Hounds of Love. Actually, Spread Your Love was like a bit of an anomaly on the record. So everyone thought it was all like that, but actually it was a whole other thing, like a whole other mystery. Do you know what I mean? So like drawing the comparison. But do you know whatever happens to my rock and roll?
Yeah, yeah,
Are you into that?
yeah. It's good.
Really not. But
No, like I think. I
yeah, it's
mean,
good.
off the top of my head, it's a good song. Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
really.
Oh no,
Can't
I
really
love
hear
that
it when
song.
I can't really hear it now, to be honest, in my
They're
head.
t-
But yeah.
they're touring again. Actually, I've got tickets. But yeah, I love Black Rebel and Red Eyes and Tears. If you haven't heard them, like yourself, Harry, this is a good place to start.
Okay, so let's play it. Here's Black Rebel Motorcycle Club, Red Eyes and Tears. Yeah, do you think that's something that's missing from music? Now you mentioned like the anticipation and waiting for stuff and the
Yeah, yeah,
mystery.
yeah, yeah.
It is lacking a bit in it.
I do. I definitely. Well, I don't know. It's so hard because you always feel like with football, with music, with everything, whatever was good when you were 15 is was the best thing.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's very hard to separate that because you don't know the experience, do you? But I do feel like, yeah, reading about those bands like the Coral or whatever, and knowing about them before I heard it, I think that did definitely inform the experience for sure.
yeah, yeah, definitely. All right, we'll go to halfway through the song, so we'll cut to some questions. First on Instagram at, from Lee underscore. What's your favourite pub in Camberwell?
That sounds like someone that's from Camberwell, but seen me in Camberwell. I haven't. Do you know what? I've had such a mad year where I haven't. It sounds terrible. I haven't been to the pub,
Fair
but I
enough,
guess,
yeah.
but that's because I can't. I can't drink and do anything the next day. And I've had a year where I've had something every day, including Sundays, just working, working, working. And I think I definitely have a bit of a work addict or addictive thing. So if I'm doing one thing, I'm doing that. So I find it hard to go out back into pubs. But Lee, I wouldn't tell you because I might see you in there. But I haven't been in the pub in Canberra already for a while, ages, or Peckham.
Fair play. Then got Bills of Fox who says, how do you find the balance between multiple podcasts, the Maccabees, and also writing?
Mm. Well, I'm struggling. To be honest with you, I'm struggling with that because I am. There are some moments where I feel like when it first started all happening out after the Maccabees for me, I started thinking, "Oh, this is great," because with the Maccabees, you'd have to overthink everything and then go home and think about it and come back and think about it, and you almost talk, like think yourself into tunnels. And this works for me because one day I've got to do tail enders, next day I'm doing a film score, next day I'm writing, and there's almost not enough time to do the overthinking. So everything's fresh. But as that's gone on, I'm not gonna lie, that has taken a little bit of a toll on my brain because just switching from one discipline to another, like every I get moments where I almost feel a bit seasick, like I almost feel dizzy. I'm doing so much, so I don't recommend it. Is my answer to that. But when I get the balance right, it's great because I don't take anything too seriously, and when I overcook it, it becomes like living in a hamster wheel.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. And you mentioned the film score. I just thought I saw a funny video. I think it was on Radio X where he said, "What film was it where the Maccabees basically scored the whole film? What was it?"
No, no, I don't think it was that. Was it? It was we're
Oh,
talking
was it the
about.
whole? Sorry, the whole song was in it or something.
Yeah, you know, that was the Steve Jobs film. I
That's
think
the
that was
one.
called
Yeah.
Jobs. Now, the story I was telling there is that Danny Boyle used for whole of Grew Up at Midnight off Given to Wild, our song, not on the credits, on the end of the film, like the whole 3.5 minutes, like closing bit was the entirety of Grew Up at Midnight loud. And it was a film about Steve Jobs by Danny Boyle. And so we were just thinking, we are finally, like how people talk about in the music industry, people talk like, oh, it just needs like some sort of divine intervention and then it'll be off. And so as soon as that happened, it was like, that's the moment. That's when it all goes like mental from here. Opens up. And we went to America and we got less popular from no, like we went from playing to like 80 people in Atlanta to 40 people in Atlanta. It was like
Wow.
how how does that it's not even possible for that to happen. Like millions of people have actually seen that film and made a conscious decision not to find that song. Um,
That's interesting. Like, so you never, what, it's never really happened in America type thing.
no, do you know what? I'm slightly over exaggerating. Like in New York and LA and those places, like tends to happen. There were moments where we did all right,
Mm.
maybe a couple of thousand people, maybe. Um, but when you go into those pocket of tour in America, it got real. And then the last tour that we did, pretty much before we broke up, we did. I think we did quite a long time, probably 6 weeks in America, and we decided like, oh, we're gonna give it a real go. We're gonna go from place to place, and like we're gonna do what everyone tells us to do, which is like go there and grind to make it happen. And it was pretty bad because you're driving all through the night, going to some like hostel type hotel where you probably see like 2 hours because you've got to get up and drive again and then you're playing to hardly anyone and doing it again and again and again. And that it really yeah, it destroys your sort of sense of like why are we doing this, you know?
Mm.
Um so that was tricky, but that is also, but on the plus side, that's when I fell in love with baseball. So because it was on everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Um, and yeah, I think Hugo mentioned like you ran over a deer or something in America.
Yeah. No, that was on tour with Block Party.
Yeah.
So we were supporting Block Party, us, the Noisettes, and yeah, Block Party. And Block Party were just really, it'd gone really well, it's second record, but they doing really well out there. So they're doing sort of like arenas or a few thousand people everywhere. And we would, did he tell you the story? Did he tell you?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
I was in front of the van. Joel, Greg, our sound guy here, the boys are in the back. I'm not even joking. They're watching a film about the revenge of the roadkill, horror film.
No way.
And we're going through the middle of the night, Bible Belt America, and I can still see it just like out of the flashlights, just suddenly out of nothing, out of the mist, like there's just a deer suddenly there, like just like looking straight at us, side on, bang. And it's not enough time. I remember shouting, fuck, and there's not enough time to get out of the way of it. And you just go bang. And then the van like veers back and forth, and it turns out we're on the top of like a ledge of some description. Like the road dives off, so we're off the side of it at one point, go back onto it. Like he just about manages to like secure the van, get out, and the whole right hand side of the van is red. It's a white van. It was like completely covered red. It was really like it's like a horror film. Van written off. The boys turned off the film about the roadkill in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night in America. We pushed the van, we pushed it to a service station, like at something out of Twin Peaks, just a service station like a mirage in the distance. And then when we got there, this was how deep America it was. They didn't understand our accents. We might as well have been French. They didn't know what words we were saying, and we were sort of trying to. And then eventually they take us to a host. Like, they took us to some place in the middle of nowhere to sleep, and we. Because I guess in those times we have mobile phones, maybe, but for like very rudimentary ones. We are stranded. We missed two shows.
Well, because the van was just
The
out of
van's
option.
completely written off. We're stranded.
Oh,
We had to
right.
get our manager from Brighton to fly to America, get another hire van, drive it to where we're stuck.
Wow.
We were literally in the middle of nowhere for a couple of days.
All right, Hugo missed that bit out, yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much convinced that's what happened. And anyway, the block party took our gear from that point on. 'Cause we got had a smaller van, so they then carried all our gear for the rest of the tour.
All right.
Yeah,
That's mad, isn't it?
yeah, that was a mad one.
This one's
That was
coming out on Halloween for radio, so that'll fit in.
yeah, that should be at the front of the show. Yeah, that was a really mad experience though, actually.
Yeah, the fact that you saw it happen is mad as well, yeah.
We've got photos of the van, so there must have been some like early phone camera type thing going on, something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Blimey.
yeah.
Well, back to the questions. Kieran Thompson on Patreon. Fulham win the FA Cup this year, or England whitewash the Ashes down under 5-0.
Oh, Fulham in the FA Cup. Fulham have never won. Fulham are the biggest team in England to have never won a tournament. That's
Oh,
after
really?
Palace have won the FA Cup last year, a major
Ah,
trophy.
okay.
Apart from the Intertoto, which they gave to me for Glastonbury,
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
which is like for people who don't know, not to speak disrespectfully, but it's a very Mickey Mouse tournament that three different teams won. That we won in the early 2000s. They said that I could have it, so it got taken
Whose
special.
idea was that? Was that yours, or?
No, do you know what? I was because I had like Tailenders slogan, hashtag Tailenders World United Take Over on my amp. Because I thought, oh, it'd be good to represent all the things that I do. And then the baseball people got me a Mets logo, and then I just messaged Fulham, just being like, do you think you guys could contribute? And I thought they were going to give me a badge or something. And James, bless him, just said, I think we can get you the Intertoto Cup out of the trophy cabinet. And after a couple of days of heavy negotiating, it was agreed that if two members of Fulham Football Club took the Intertoto trophy in a rucksack to Glastonbury and were escorted to stage with it, that we could have the Intertoto Cup. So it was a good position as well because it was just like it was really in view of the cameras. So there's so many people messaging saying that I had a replica of the Intertoto Cup because no one would believe that the real Intertoto. They did say you could have the championship trophy, but have you seen the championship? It's really big. It's like
Right,
about
yeah.
it's like about 2 meters high. Like you wouldn't even get it to, it would be wobbling on an amp too much. So anyway,
No, that's
um,
it.
but yeah, so for I would say definitely Fulham winning the FA Cup. That would mean a lot to me.
Have they got to the final before or anything?
1975,
Oh, okay. Who was that
with
against?
West Ham got beat 2-0.
Ah, right.
We had Bobby Moore though. It was the end of Bobby Moore's career, and he was playing for Fulham.
Ah, right. Cool.
We actually had to the players had to saw their shin pads in half before the game because they were too big.
Blimey. It's the other way
Yeah.
around, though, isn't
I know exactly. Yeah, exactly. They're tiny now, aren't they? Do they
it?
exist anymore, shin pads? They don't really, do they?
No, they're like the size of like, don't know, chocolate
Yeah.
bar or something, a
What's that
ruler.
about? Yeah, what is that about?
Then the socks thing's weird, isn't it? They're ripping the socks.
Uh,
Um, Some more questions on Instagram quickly. Mitchell James Willis. How mad was that morning on Soccer AM back in the day with Freddie Starr?
Oh my God. Is he saying he was there or something, or wasn't?
That's literally it, yeah.
Yeah, so we were on Soccer AM with Freddie Starr and Ken Loach, filmmaker Ken Loach.
All right.
And Ken Loach, you could not get a more humble, artistic, like locked into societal wrongs, like just a real sort of highbrow guest to have on Soccer AM. And then Freddie Starr was, I mean, you couldn't get more opposite characters. I can't remember exactly what happened, but we were in the middle of both of them. And Freddie Starr was like doing things like throwing shoes across the camera. I'd like to see the footage of that again because he was definitely like really, really, really eccentric to the point, and we were very shy, so we wouldn't have hardly said anything in that interview. The other thing I do remember about that though is that Matt Jansen was the footballer. Do you remember Matt
Oh, yeah.
Jansen?
Yeah, yeah.
And you know how you could give to get it in the bins or whatever it is, like top bins. He did it by, the one where you put your right leg behind your left leg and like flick it,
The, all
like
right. The cameo, no?
yeah, is it Canio where he puts his right leg behind? Yeah, exactly. Your standing leg, your right leg goes around the back of the left leg to like
No, the
hold it.
Rabona.
Yeah, is it Rabona? Yeah, that's what
Right,
it's called,
right.
Rabona. He Rabona'd it into the thing,
Oh,
into
Jesus
like the thing. It's the
Christ.
most mental thing I've ever seen. Like insane.
How did you get on? Did you score?
And all I remember is I got enough height. So I was so worried that it wasn't going to leave the ground. So I got it in like middle of the goal, like just a bit of useless dink. But George Sword, tour manager, he left saying you didn't disgrace yourself, and that was the only thing that was important to me at that time.
Ah, fair play. He also says, same guy says, how did you keep up with Fulham and cricket when on the road back in the day? I guess when technology wasn't what it is now.
Yeah, good question. I think I still managed to. I think you still sort of could in some ways. I used to uh, the little like when tests are going on, you got a little daily update. I used to live for those because you'd have like an hour summary that would either be like I must have had it on my phone or something, but you'd save it for like when you're on the come down after the gig in your bunk or whatever, and just be like, oh, that would just be what home is. Like I'm in just a really safe, nice place here. Um, and then Fulham was relatively. I think it's relatively easy to follow Premier League football or any English football really across the world.
Yeah, you could probably watch it live
Yeah,
across
it
the
would have
world.
been would have been harder at one probably when we were
Yeah.
starting. Um, but yeah, I used to like. I mean, I'm not even allowed to say it, but I used to. My thing would be saying "Come on, Fulham Football Club" about everything, like going on stage doing it. Come on, Fulham Football Club. So I used to get told to shut up, going on about Fulham. To be honest with you.
Route 66 says, do you agree that the percussion on Glimmer is outrageous?
Wow, what a niche question. I might have to go and listen to it. Am I allowed to
Go for
listen
it,
to
yeah.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it outrageously good?
Most, why it just says outrageous. I suppose it means positive way.
Drums are good. You mean drums?
Percussion? I guess so.
Yeah, I don't joke. That was Sam. So that Given to Wild was we were doing a lot of stuff like for the first time in sort of rather than being in a room together in sort of demo form. And Sam actually programmed that beat to a song that I had the music for. And when we started it, that existed because and Michael Palin was on the TV, and we recorded all of Michael Palin talking on his show, and that was like the vocal. So for a
Right.
long period of time, it was called Bauble the Magnificent Spectacle, something that he said, and it was like it almost felt like, do you remember Lemon Jelly?
Right.
It almost felt like a bit of a concepty type vibe like that. And then it was like, oh, we can't actually get the rights to use this or whatever it was. And then Land wrote the vocal which really like made that what it is. But I haven't answered the question. Yes, the percussion is outrageous. Whatever you're referring to.
This album podcast, who will we hear new music from next? 86 TVs or the Maccabees?
Oh, great question. I know. It's a great question. I don't even know the answer to that. Eight says that 86 TV's music has been written this year. Um, but like I've been saying, I'm a little bit when I've done this little book run, I need to stop because I've had a bit. I just feel like my brain's gonna. I just need to give myself a few weeks or a month just to have nothing, put myself in a tank. So we put all those decisions off just while we get to the end of like all the stuff we do. Because I can't really think straight about anything at the moment. But we'll see. Hopefully both. I'm hoping there's a world where we can have both things exist. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah. But definitely being on the boil in terms of songwriting for Maccabees, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like no one's saying no to it anymore.
Okay.
So it's not like definitely not. But we haven't actually. I'm just being pretty straight. We just haven't actually tried it.
Ah,
So it's
fair.
not. It's not like there's some songs waiting. It's just like we haven't. That's the big step. Like if we go and do that, that will be the um that's like, oh, we're really going back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll wait and see.
Cool. Then one from Denner. Might have to edit this from slightly, but it says, "What do you do when the cricket isn't on? Any other pastimes?" I guess football, music kind of covers that.
And
Anything
baseball.
else? Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, so I've got sports for all times of a day at whatever continent you need to be in. So like there's all like out of all my interests, like there's rarely a moment where base wasn't on, or like for example, like the Women's Cricket World Cup's happening at the moment, locking into that.
Where
World
is that?
Series, it is in subcontinent
All right.
in India. The So that's happening like early-ish. Then you got World Series baseball is about to kick off. Posting baseball, that's like at 1 in the morning that starts. And then obviously Prem and whatever. And then we're
Yeah,
gonna have the Ashes soon through the middle of the night. So don't worry about me. I'm covered.
yeah. All right, now, so mate, we'll fire through these last five songs then. PJ Harvey always reminds me of Glastonbury for some reason, PJ Harvey.
Oh,
But why
interesting.
this song in particular?
What song have I chosen?
Good Fortune.
Oh, Good Fortune, just from a similar era, but just the toughest sounding guitar record of this era, actually, in lots of ways. Still listen to it all the time. What I really love about PJ Harvey is she's gone and done lots of other stuff, and she just gives you that illusion. I guess a bit like Radiohead or people do, whether it's true or not. That like, oh yeah, I could do that. If you want me to do that, I could do that. But I'm just choosing not to. And there's like quite a nice energy to Beatles like energy to that, where it's like, oh yeah, that I could do that if you want. And this record's got a bit that ease to it, like just proper tough rock record.
Yeah, so let's play it then. Here's PJ Harvey with Good Fortune. Then the next one I mentioned them previously, I think The Coral, but it's a song from their fourth album, I think.
Oh
Why
my
this
God.
particular one?
Oh my God. This is just the harmonies on this. This is my favorite choral record, The Invisible Invasion, which was made by Jeff Barrow from Portishead. Um, I loved the early years eccentric choral when they go off on a million tangents and they're like 45 different bands at once inside a song. I fell in love with that band. I love that band. But I also like when they've just come to this point in their career where they're sort of tripping into darkness, realizing they maybe don't want all the attention, but they can occasionally write whatever in the morning or whatever, just throw that on this record, like just perfect pop music, but the Lars would write or whatever. But this song, Far From the Crowd, um, harmonies on it, yeah, and the sort of atmosphere in it. I can't remember the lyrics now, but I think it's Starry Never. I think it might be about somebody who's been washed up at the rocks or something. Anyway, this is just truly, this is like up there with, and I mean this in a good way, like the best music Shaq made.
Oh,
So yeah.
okay. Oh, here it is. Here's The Coral, Far From the Crowd. Then the next song, Jamie T. I'm right in thinking you went to school with Jamie T.
You were not right in saying we went to school with
All
Jamie
right,
T.
fair enough.
I don't know where about would have, but we just know Jamie from playing. From the first time I met Jamie T was in Brighton when he was a sort of MC, and he Maccabees were playing on one floor and he was an MC the floor below. And he came up to me after we were playing and he was like, "Oh, you sound like the Clash, and I'm trying to get a band together, but I'm an MC." I was doing it downstairs, and then 6 months later we played Coco with Jamie T, and he was like, "Do you remember da 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 da?" And it was the same kid.
All
But
right.
but yeah, Jamie T. What song have I chosen there? I've chosen a good one.
368, is it from
Oh,
second album?
360. Yeah, I love 368. Such a good record, second record. The thing I love about, I mean, people really care about Jamie and his music. There's a deep connection there, and it's getting stronger. And he's always been really great to us, Jamie. And we've always felt like that's always been the thing with the Maccabees and lots of people in my life. Like that's the fit. We all agree on Jamie. Like Jamie's music is just like there's not never any like yeah, but it's just Jamie's like psh, just ultimate respect for him as a songwriter and yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw you both playing together in Sheffield back in the day on a tour.
Oh really? Yeah, we supported Jamie at would have been Leadmill,
Yeah, I went to that. Yeah, I remember.
which felt massive at the time.
That was
We were
ace.
supporting Jamie, yeah. Um, and yeah, and in this era especially, like the way these um records sound really homemade, like really like you're inside his bedroom, and then when you take it into those spaces, they become like like rock anthems with like proper like post-punk guitar bands. Just love that how they could take both lives on sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let's play the song then. Here's Jamie T with 368, 368, however you want it.
368.
Then, yeah, a couple of belters to finish with. Interpol, Length of Love.
Oh, Length
Um,
for Love. You do like Interpol?
yeah,
You're a
yeah,
fan?
brilliant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So Interpol, like they might even be the most important guitar band from that period to us, because they were just I think they sort of taught us them and the Strokes that two guitars, bass, drums, vocals could sound like symphonic, could sound like whatever you wanted to, could build anything from it. And plus, we were totally awestruck by them. And they were sort of you sort of felt like they was just almost like our age. So they felt like all those bands you hear about from the past, whatever whoever they might be, Jeeves and Mary Chain, Echo and the Bunnymen, Velvet Underground, but they were now, but they still had that mystique to them. Length for Love is just like a just deep cut, but my favorite, probably my favorite song of Antics. Amazing bass playing, and yeah, we supported Nepal in the early years, which was a very 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 big deal to us. I have witnessed Interpol get told off for smoking inside London Astoria,
All
so
right.
it happens to us all. Um, well, and I was like to the guy, like, do you know who you just told off? You can't tell off Interpol. Interpol they want.
Wow,
Um,
that's funny. The
but
thought of
yeah,
like some random security dealing with Paul Banks is funny. From
yeah,
London
all
as
of them.
well.
They're walking around in a like black. Yeah, exactly. But like to the security guys, like, I don't give a fuck who you are. You're smoking. You're not allowed to. It's quite humbling.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I was talking the other day about the Meet Me in the Bathroom film where they talk about playing like, I think you're playing like Wigan to 10 people in a pub or something. It just seems mental, doesn't it?
Mad. A mate, I would love to beat like
And
there's always I think because when the Strokes first came, they were kicking off, weren't they? I don't think the Strokes ever played to no one.
no, exactly. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was already a big thing, but Interpol probably you would have just seen them. I do sort of daydream about that a little bit, about seeing those bands in little places. But I had that with Idols, Fontaines, Wonder Horse, all the bands that, like had seen them, all those bands in tiny spaces to no one. And it is true, there is a thing about those bands where you're like, ah, that's something, I've seen something really special there.
Yeah, yeah. I think Arctic
Um,
Monkeys is the only one, but they still had quite a bit of a buzz around them, didn't they?
we supported Arctic Monkeys at Comedia in Brighton
Ah, okay.
in the early days when just before in the MySpace demos
Yeah,
when
yeah.
it was going mad. And going mad, and we played with them, and Land lived just down the road, so we were carrying our amps home. And as I was leaving the dressing room to leave, I was carrying the amp, and I walked past Alex Turner, and I went, it's all right for you, like we got to carry the amps home type thing. And he just looked at me in the eyes and went, there's got to be rain before there's a rainbow.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, that's all I need from you. I'm out. They got like ushered out, like carrying
Jesus.
the
Well, and they've
amp.
been
Yeah.
playing for about 2 months or something.
Yeah, they were already like spouting like Dylan, like, um, I was like, okay, see ya.
Do you see people like
It
that
was
though?
so
Like,
good.
I mean, you played, I think it sounds like you probably chose the Cribs to play at that festival recently, but
Yeah, yeah.
do you have like relationships that span over those years where you kind of drop in with each other over the years kind of thing?
We drop in.
Well, sorry, like where you check in with these bands that you've known for years type
Yeah,
thing.
all I feel close, like even though we're not sort of close friends, even people like the Cribs, like, I feel close with all of them. Like even when we saw Cribs at All Points East, I felt like they've really gone through, they've endured all that time, and that music is special to a lot of people. So I felt kind of an affinity with. I don't know if they would say the same thing about Hearts, but I felt like an affinity or closeness with all those groups from that time. Because I also feel like there was a lot of detail being put into the music, and the music lives really well for it. I think most of it, like those bands I love, like you can really feel the love, care, yeah, youthful energy that went into those records. And yeah, I don't know, especially those bands I just mentioned, Cribs, Future Reds, obviously Monkeys, all those bands. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess you did you have the similar thing as Arctic Monkeys, like with the MySpace thing, where you'd put a song on MySpace and then you'd have the crowd singing the words back at you
Yeah.
almost like straight away.
So mad. I really, I kind of miss MySpace, like having four songs up there that people would all, and just checking. Could we go and use in a news agent like a computer, log on to it for an hour to do your MySpace and
Yeah.
change the songs on it or whatever it was, and like yeah, change your top eight friends. Um, but yeah, 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 we did have that. We were definitely part of that. It's cool. Yeah, really cool. I feel like sometimes I feel like um in the early years we were a bit more like really high energy, like excited guitar band, and when we recorded the record we were sort of a bit more like, oh, we got to try and do it properly now. So I was sort of regret that a little bit, like no, we should have just played it as chaotically and as quickly as it was beforehand, but we sort of got slightly into a mindset of we don't want it to sound messy. And
Yeah.
I think that's a bit of a shame in some ways with that first record.
No, it's similar to quite a few bands back then. Like the demos had like a certain energy that wasn't
Yeah.
really replicated on the album.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do because you're not going like we got to do it properly. And I remember doing it in Olympic and thinking like, oh, it's such a nice studio. It's like, oh, this is gonna make the record for us, is it? Like, you're kind of like a bit sort of, if you feel like, oh, there's something you don't quite understand that it's gonna do. So you have to sort of learn that lesson a little bit, unless you just got a pure instinct from a young age. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then finishing on arguably the Strokes' best ever song. Sure, there'll be a debate about that, but You Only Live Once. Why this particular song?
yeah, I love this era of the Strokes. It doesn't get talked about with as much sort of reverence as obviously the first album, obviously, but I think there's definitely like a handful of songs off that third record, which is the Strokes' best work. Like maybe slightly too long, but um, You Only Live Once is like just such a statement of pure guitar stadium energy, isn't it? And just absolutely adore the guitar playing. Don't know what else I can say about it really. We supported the Strokes on this tour in Brighton, and we walked in with them playing, no one else in the arena, like lights backlit, just only us, just carrying our gear into the venue, and the Strokes at what's the arena in Brighton? Can't remember what it's called now for some reason. It's lost me, but whatever, it's 4,000 type people. And it was just the most special. It was too much for me. I was like, I think I might have cried that day. But we invited we saw them backstage, and I asked Nick and Julian, "Do you want like?" It would mean I said sort of like it would mean I didn't say fuck John Lennon and Julian from the Strokes. I was like, it would mean a lot if you could you come and watch us. I mean, sounds like a mad. I would never say that now. It feels a bit needy. But
No, fair play.
they were like, yeah, sure. And then I turn around like playing like second song. All the Strokes are lined up side of stage, just
Wow,
watching it in that sort of silhouette thing, just there watching us.
that is mad.
And it felt like, it was, 'cause we were so familiar with them like as shapes. So even seeing them side of stage like that was amazing. They had a band in the middle called the Shout Out Louds from Sweden.
I remember the name, yeah.
And we had a great night out with all of them. And they were like, where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? And we ended up like back in my like sort of student accommodation in Brighton.
No way, with all the strokes.
No, 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 no. We want to
Right.
shout out loud.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I went, no way, I want to shout out loud. Um, no, 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 we didn't. Unfortunately, the Strokes weren't there. No.
I think they were a bit partied out by that time, weren't they?
Yeah,
Was
they probably
Julian
were
sober at that point? I don't
probably a
know.
bit cooked. I don't think we could have dealt with it either. We were very, very, very in awe of their energy. It was very like lips trembling type vibe.
Yeah, fair play. I'd have been, yeah,
Yeah,
a mess.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I've introduced it, but here's the Strokes with You Only Live Once. All right, cheers, Felix. Really appreciate that.
Pleasure, mate.
Um, do you usually finish? Just ask. I mean, probably should have prepped you, but is there a high point so far of your musical career?
High point in my musical career.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty
Joe, Joe,
major
what
question, but
I will actually say All Points East. I actually would say All Points East. I think the fact that but but we but the music survived all that time, and the band were bigger maybe than we'd ever been after that period of time, and to be an age where I could like have the same experience that one I described as a 20-year-old, but be old enough to actually appreciate it and to realize what was happening um was wild, because I never thought I was going to get that moment again. And I was, like I said, I was always trying to like find that feeling from somewhere else. So to get another go at it or just experiencing it was just a really magical, special thing.
yeah, yes. And it's obviously worked out pretty well, but is there anything you do differently?
Probably wouldn't go up to Barry and say fuck John Lennon and Barry from the Future Heads. Probably
Superb
that.
ending, yeah. Great callback.
Yeah.
All right, cheers, Felix. I'll leave you to it, mate. But
Mate,
oh,
absolute
obviously
pleasure,
you want
man.
to, sorry, do you want to plug the book as well? When's the book out?
Oh, the book is out next Thursday, Thursday 30th.
Right, okay. Yes, I'll be buying that.
And it's journey through the FA Cup, but but if you don't like football, it's a much deeper story than that talks about displacement, personal belonging, all that kind of thing. And there's lots of stuff about the Maccabees, the sort of the arc, but that runs alongside the football is the Maccabee is like that Maccabees reunion and ending up at Glastonbury, and then the FA Cup going from Kendal Calling and Penrith to Wembley, Glastonbury. That's the sort of like parallel arc of the book.
Yeah. What was the best game you saw out of interest, or is that in the book?
I didn't see that many good games. But it's all like, but that's not, there's almost no football mentioned in the book. So it's almost
Oh, okay.
doesn't like, but I would probably say, definitely the best moment is the Eze goal in a cup final, mad break on counter attack. Um, a guy called Jamie, no, who's it? Eric Ring scored an absolutely mad goal for Lincoln City against Crawley Town. That was the best goal I saw in the tournament. And that was probably the best game as well. That ended up 4-3 to Lincoln City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where did Fulham, how did they get on?
Oh mate, we got beat 3-0 by Palace in the quarter final.
Oh, right,
And
okay.
that's a whole big story because it's United Old Trafford. We beat them on penalties, and then my nephew Hugo's son Jet is really getting into has fallen in love with Fulham this year, which is such a big deal for me because I've like handed in Fulham in a way that I never got. I just chose support Fulham when I was young. I didn't get it given to me. So he's like had the world open up for him through football, and we talk every day about Fulham, and we were so hyped for Palace, and obviously what happened, and I actually witnessed his heartbreak next to me in that seat, and we'd have a conversation, me and Jet, like for the rest of the game about how sad football is, and him talking about how it's the worst day of his life. But there's a lot of but inside that story is a lot of like how football connects a child with an adult, basically, and how it teaches you in a safe way that there are some things in life that just can't be changed. You can't do
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
about them. And it's like watching him witness that for the first time, like, as an 8-year-old being, remember that feeling of what is no one going to change? What, that's just going to stay that way? I just have to live with this emptiness inside me now. Do you know what I mean?
You
And I
can't
think
restart it like a FIFA game now,
exactly, he was a bit like that, yeah. Um, but yeah, there you go.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, Marco Silva nearly took us to a final once. Well, I say nearly.
Oh, Marco! Of
Got
course
knocked out
he's
in the League Cup semi-final to Man United. I mean, we were never really in the game, but I think we beat him at home. But,
he did well, didn't he, at Hull,
yeah, he
Marco?
nearly kept us up like out of. We had a terrible start to the season and stuff.
I love
Uh,
Marco. I love how we get. I'm thinking about writing a song called "The Unending Sadness of Marco Silva."
he looks like he's just constantly awake thinking about football. He's one of those types, isn't
He came off on a fix. I asked him literally that. Like I was said to him, like, mate, sometimes I worry about you because I just
he?
worry
Yeah.
how you unwind. This is how he says he unwinds. He watches more football.
Jesus.
He watches football that he says he's not invested in, so he'll watch German football. That's how he relaxes.
That is mad.
That's the level you got to be at.
All right, mate. Cheers, Felix. I'll let you go
Brilliant.
now.
All right,
But
mate.
I'll give you a
Pleasure.
message when it's coming out. Well, it's next week. So, yeah.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate it, man. Lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, all the best. Cheers.
Take care of yourself, bro. Cheers,
See ya.
mate.